Welcome back to Beginning Band COVID Companion, Distance Learning for Band. This is video 3 of a 4-part series. We've already learned how to assemble and disassemble our instrument. Then, we learned how to maintain the mechanics of our instrument and disinfect it. Now, we will learn how to make beautiful sounds on our mouthpiece. Lastly, we will perform our first notes together. Your sits bones, spine, and neck are all stacked so as to not inhibit breathing. Your arms will be gently lifted away from your body. Your shoulders will be down and relaxed. Bring your instrument to be parallel to the ground and then lower your bell by 10 degrees. Your elbows should hang freely and loosely away from your body, not tense, but also not collapsed. A standing posture requires a slightly different bell angle than your sitting posture. Bring your instrument to be parallel to the ground and then raise the bell 10 degrees instead of lowering it. The standing posture is almost exclusively reserved for marching band, so you probably won't have to worry about that this year. Your left hand index finger will lay horizontally on the brace that leads to the mouthpiece. Your left thumb will wrap around the vertical brace. Your middle finger, ring finger, and pinky finger of your left hand will all go into the rectangular shaped hole right by the mouthpiece. Your right hand, thumb, index finger, and middle finger will all grab the movable part of the slide handle. Your ring finger and pinky finger will lay comfortably underneath the slide. When you're changing notes with your right hand, your wrist should maintain a relaxed grip. These are pictures of all 7 slide positions. In order to change notes on the trombone, there are 2 parts. Moving the slide is one of those parts. What you do with your lips is the other part, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. First position, which is the picture in the upper left corner, is what we call the slide being all the way in. Second position is when we show 1 inch of the inner slide, a little bit more than the width of your finger. Third position is when you take that slide and put it just before the bell. Fourth position is a little bit after the bell. The beginning of the outside of the trombone slide should be 1 centimeter past that bell. Fifth position is simply halfway between 4th and 6th position. In order to fine-tune this to really get it in the right spot, you're going to need to practice with a tuner to learn that exact muscle memory. Sixth position is the full length of most people's arms. You're going to need to fine-tune this also with a tuner because we all have different length arms. Seventh position is when you're going to put the slide so far out that it starts to expose the stocking at the end of the inner slide. If you look really carefully on your trombone, there will be a little line near the end of the inner slide. That part is called the stocking. However, be careful not to fully remove the outer slide because bad things could happen. You will fine-tune 7th position also with a tuner to lock in that muscle memory so that it sounds great. Close your lips so that your top lip and bottom lip form a straight line. If you lick your lips before you play, it will allow for an easier first sound. When you play, you will firm the corners of your lips by saying the letter M. Some people prefer to say the word dim. Center your mouthpiece on the center of your lips. Your teeth should be very slightly separated. Definitely don't bite down. Your cheeks need to stay firmly against your molars, so think about creating dimples to hold those cheeks in. No puffy cheeks, please. You will create a long buzz sound while keeping the corners of your lips supported, and use the same muscles necessary to say the letter B to control your buzz sound. You can try buzzing right now by allowing air to pass between your lips while controlling that air with letter B muscles. It'll sound like this. Your lips vibrating is what's going to make the sound on your trombone. It might sound a little silly right now, but once you put your mouthpiece on your lips and try it, it'll refine that sound and sound a lot better. Place your mouthpiece on your lips so that the mouthpiece is even between your lips. It should be 50% top lip and 50% bottom lip as a starting point. Some people will have their private lessons teachers include just a little bit more upper lip in their mouthpiece based on how their face is developed. Definitely, you do not want to have more bottom lip in your mouthpiece than your top lip though. Take a full breath for every note that you play. There are other variables behind your embouchure too. The space between your back teeth should be about a thumb's width. Rest your tongue against the floor of your mouth until you need to use it. Everything behind your tongue should be open and relaxed like a sigh. Go ahead and sigh right now to experience that relaxed and open nature behind your tongue. For high pitches, or high notes as they're often called, a smaller aperture is necessary. Aperture is the distance between your lips when your lips are vibrating. In order to hit high notes, the aperture between your lips needs to be very narrow, like a coffee stir or a toothpick. This will cause your lips to vibrate at a faster frequency. Think fast, cold air with a more focused airstream to get high notes. Do not think pinch or pressure. In order to get low notes to come out, think about a larger aperture between your lips, kind of like the size of a milkshake straw. This will cause your lips to vibrate at a lower frequency. Think warmer, steamier, darker, open air. Now that you've seen both the correct and incorrect postures, hand techniques, and embouchure, it's time for us to make beautiful sounds on our mouthpiece. Now it's time for us to make noises on the trombone mouthpiece together. You'll notice that I don't need the body of the trombone for this part of the video. If you haven't already, go ahead and grab your mouthpiece. Embouchure is what you do with the muscles in your face to set yourself up for success on the trombone. The first step of embouchure formation is to create a straight line between your upper lip and your bottom lip by saying the letter M. You're going to place your mouthpiece on top of that letter M in a manner such that the top of the mouthpiece is for your upper lip and equal parts, 50-50, the bottom part of the mouthpiece is for your bottom lip. M. The letter M brings our lip pucker into a position where the corners of our lips can be firm and still allow for air to pass through the middle of our lips. The hole that is created between your lips is called your aperture. You can change the pitch of the note by increasing or decreasing the size of your aperture. When you're buzzing on your mouthpiece, you will take 2 fingers and put them on top of your mouthpiece shank, and your thumb will go underneath the support. Make sure that you're not just putting your fist around the mouthpiece and cramming it into your face. That will create a lot of mouthpiece tension and it'll make your lips hurt. Next, we should talk about your teeth and your cheeks. If you separate your back molars by just a little bit, what that will do is it will naturally drop your jaw into a relaxed position. That's where you want it to be when you play the trombone. We never want to clench our teeth because that's going to cause tension in our sound. Another thing we should talk about is our cheeks. You want your cheeks to stay in, touching your teeth. If you struggle doing that when you play your instrument, just think about creating dimples in your smile, or think about bringing your cheeks in and close to your teeth. The next step is to create a buzz sound. Air is going to pass between your lips through that aperture that we talked about, and the corners of your face are going to hold your lips firmly so that there is a vibration that occurs in that aperture, like this. We call that buzzing. You want to do that into the mouthpiece. If you're struggling to create a buzzing sound on your mouthpiece, what you're lacking is a control of the aperture. Remember that you need to start with the letter M, and during the middle of the note, I have a new letter for you to think about. It's the letter B. In order to say the letter B, your lips need to contract a little bit to hold that B in place. So in the middle of your note, if you're just getting air, you think about reforming that letter B as you play. So again, your lips are going to start at the letter M, and then the air is going to pass through into the mouthpiece while maintaining the letter B. Tonguing your notes. So create that buzz just like you did a moment ago and play for as long as you can. We're going to do that again, except for this time, we're going to interrupt the buzz by touching our tongue to the back of our teeth. And instead of it just be going, hoo, it's going to go, hoo, too, 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 as our tongue makes a T sound and interrupts our buzz. That is called articulating your note. Your band director is going to want you to have that letter T at the start of all of your notes. Did you hear the letter T? You're going to want to practice buzzing a lot before we try to put the instrument back together and learn our first notes. Not only is it going to strengthen your face muscles, but it's going to give you a consistency of sound and a beautiful tone that you're going to appreciate later. Earlier, I was talking about how you can keep your slide in one position and play all kinds of different notes just based on what your face is doing. It's time to practice that a little bit. We're going to practice changing notes just on the mouthpiece by increasing our aperture size. Again, that's the hole between our lips. And increasing the size is going to make the notes lower. If I decrease the size of my aperture, like as small as a toothpick, then our notes are going to go higher. Here's a low note, open aperture. Here's a high note with a narrower aperture. If you're struggling to make a difference just with the aperture size, what you need to do is think about also the speed of your air and the warmth of your air. Slower, warmer, darker air and a larger aperture will give you lower notes. Faster, colder air with a smaller aperture will give you higher notes. Now, no matter the speed of the air, you're always going to take a huge, relaxed breath, because it doesn't matter how loud or quiet or high or low you play, you always want to take a big, full breath. going to do a mouthpiece exercise called the siren. We're going to slowly transition from a large aperture to a smaller aperture, and then do the opposite, where we transition from a small aperture to a larger aperture. And I'm going to show you with my hand the correlation of pitch as I change the aperture on my face, because you're not going to be able to see what my face is doing. My turn first, and then you try it with me. Your turn. If you can't play as high as me yet, that's just fine. The more that you practice these mouthpiece exercises, the stronger your face muscles are going to become. Another thing that is very important to trombone playing is playing your scales. Your band director is going to have you do this all the time. You can practice scales just on your mouthpiece by treating your different notes like a staircase. It doesn't need to sound perfect now. It's just important that you practice making a difference between the lower notes and the higher notes. Let's play a different mouthpiece exercise game, where it's like you're throwing a dart. Imagine a low note with a large aperture and throw a dart at it. Imagine a middle note with a medium-sized aperture and throw a dart at it. Imagine a high note with a very small aperture and throw a dart at it. Another game that I like to play is trying to play an actual song, but just on the mouthpiece. Pick a song that's stuck in your head and see if you can change notes without the rest of the trombone at all. Right now, it might not be perfect, might not even be pretty yet, but by you trying, you're training your face to change notes based on the size of your aperture. Good luck!